Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is Monday, May 15th, 2023. My name is Jeremy. Something about the first sip, right? Just something about it. Who is here? I want to say good morning to Frank and Stacy and all of you that are hiding there. Maybe it's because it's Monday. You're scared of the week. Perhaps that's what's going on. Perhaps it's something else. I don't know. But I'm glad whether you're watching now, whether you're watching sometime in there, perhaps even listening. Good morning, Jenny. I had a good, busy, and tiring weekend. What did I do Friday? Friday, I had a meeting up in Burlington, worked until about 1 o'clock, and then went up there. I took a very slow path. Was I on the highway at all? I was not on the highway at all. Just kind of meandered my way up there, had the meeting. Meeting was at a bar. Still didn't drink. Got another week, almost another week. And it was good. It's good. It's this group that I'm part of that help run a thing with it, but it's also like it's a businessy, socially networking thing. It's weird. Anyways, that meeting. And then all weekend I worked in the yard. I mowed about half the grass. I weed whacked. I did a whole bunch of one-time things. I cleaned up. Did I plant anything? It was crazy. And I was checking this thing, the ring on my finger, the smart ring. Stacey says, saw all those steps on Saturday. Yeah, well, yesterday was even more. Saturday, I think by the time I went to bed, it was something like 23,000 steps. Today was 24,000 steps. By the time I sat down for lunch at 1:30 yesterday, I was already at 19. It was insane. Mowing the grass will do that. And walking around with a weed whacker will do that. And digging holes and moving things from one place to the other and raking. And I love summer. And I love summer in Vermont. And I love the way that the land looks when it's woken back up. But it does take a lot of work. Good morning, Rebecca. Frank says, my weekend was busy and tiring too. We were crazy busy at the store. I would rather be busy than not busy. I don't like being not busy. I went to bed quite early last night. Slept great. Still a little bit tired. Now today, got a number of things going on. First, we do have an episode of Martial Arts Radio. We are going to chat about that briefly. And got some client stuff. But there's something that none of this is really wood. Actually, the coasters are probably the closest thing to wood. These coasters that I've had for years now. Cork. Cork is wood. You knew that, right? I have a meeting to check out a space that is in the appropriate location, appears to have availability at the right time, and the pricing is right for a martial arts school to get started. Kind of excited. Good morning to you, Dennis. So I will, once I'm done with work today, roll over there, see what's going on, check out the space, see if it works. If it works, then it just becomes a question of when. I don't know when. We will find out. Kelly says, was a great busy weekend. Testing Saturday, yard work, flower planting, and looked at campers. Think we found the one we want. Oh, that's awesome. Had the chance to go over and visit Kelly and her school and observe some of the testing. And shout out to Andy, who did a phenomenal job. Great job, Andy. Stacy is on the second round of meds for bronchitis, but Saturday was the first time I felt weeks. Yesterday, I felt enough energy to start cleaning and got out 10 bags of stuff from the first floor. Wow. Good morning to you, Tommy. Jenny says, this weekend was wonderful. Had a great time with mom and me classes at our school, math school, on Saturday. And my family made me feel special yesterday for Mother's Day. I got my balcony garden set up too. Love it. Definitely a happy place. That's so awesome. Tommy says, hope the space works. Thank you. Me too. Stacy says, here's to continued health improvements for the first time. Morning, TN. New day. What else did I do in between? Watch some TV, cook some food, cooked a lot of food. Nap yesterday, but probably wouldn't have woken up. I was tired. My body is still like appropriately tired. You know the amount of tired where you're like, all right, my body feels like it's been worked. Like I've done a lot of work, movement, but there's nothing I couldn't do. Right? Like that's what I go for. That's the right amount. I could still do anything I wanted or needed to do. Maybe not a whole day of it, but this is kind of where I want to be for recovery. Tommy says, I totally napped yesterday. And he says, I had it and a great lunch with you. Thanks, man. For me, that was dinner. Great nonetheless. Well, probably see me drinking out of the Martial Arts Radio mug. It is Monday, which means there is an episode of Martial Arts Radio. And then fair warning, Dennis, we are going to chat about it briefly. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. You will shortly. He does. Oh, this one was fun. Episode 814, Yuri Lowenthal. Now, if you know that name, it's because you're an incredible nerd. But if you don't know the name, you know something that he's done. Yuri Lowenthal had the opportunity to bring Spider-Man to life in the most recent and the upcoming Spider-Man video games. And done some, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember the IMDb, some voiceover work for Spider-Man. Basically, Yuri is Spider-Man now. Outside of the live action films, he's Spider-Man. It's kind of like, no, I won't compare it to that. But we had a great talk. We got to talk about what that was like. We got to talk about his background and why he's able to move in these ways. It's a fun conversation. You can find the video on YouTube. You can find the audio in all the normal podcast places. Stacy says, nerd or in Patreon or both. That's a great point. Some of you may know Yuri's name because we posted about it in Patreon that his episode was upcoming and why we had him on the show. I like the Patreon. I like the fact that I can just dump fun stuff in there and know that I don't have to worry about my audience. That's a big crow. Hello, large crow. I hung the bird feeder yesterday and woke up this morning and there were two of them pretty much systematically going through the seed. One in the bird feeder just kind of sweeping it out and then the other on the ground picking out the stuff they wanted. Friggin' birds. Jenny says, oh, yep, incredible nerd and incredible nerd adjacent. Thanks to my kids and Matt. LOL. There you go. Well, go check it out. Enjoy. And as always, if you have guest suggestions or topic suggestions, let me know. Tomorrow is a recording day. Ooh. Frank says, I was a sleepyhead this morning, but my dog Scooby made sure I got up in plenty of time to watch the show. Awesome. Nice to have a dog alarm clock. So, I don't even know what the count is up to now. It's like 7 people who've been on the show who have passed away. Yesterday we lost another, Soki Mike de Pasquale, also known as Mike D, who holds a distinction in that we never did a formal interview episode with him, but he was on. We did what I called a conversations episode because he was such a storyteller. And I had the chance. I sat down with him in the lobby of the Martial Arts Symposium, the event that we just had a couple weeks ago. I sat down and just recorded some stuff with him. And so that's up there. Great stories. He'd been ill for a while. And I'm glad I got the chance to meet him. Nice guy, recognized me, which, you know, when I think about these people who've been around and know so many people, the fact that they would recognize me always means something to me. But I'm sad about this, less so about my connection with him because I didn't have much of one, but because so many people that I do have a connection with had a strong connection with him. There are a lot of people who had a lot of tears yesterday for Mother's Day that they weren't quite expecting. And my heart goes out to all of them. If the dream of a martial artist is to leave a legacy, Mike D definitely passed on. His father started this out, Yoshitsune Jiu-Jitsu. He certainly advanced his father's legacy, and there are plenty of people who have taken what they both taught and incorporated it into their own schools. And I am thankful I got the chance to meet him. Yeah. Tommy, you are right. Tommy says, Mike D, a pioneer and a great guy too. The world lost one of the good ones, for sure. Good morning, Gat. So, yeah, I was mid-mow and just checked my phone. I think I was hitting next on the podcast. Oh, well, I'll tell you about the podcast I'm listening to. And somebody had written me and said, hey, got some bad news for you. Called him and he's like, yeah, Mike D. I was like, oh, okay. So the podcast I was listening to, I like really well done audio dramas, and there aren't very many of them. Still, the one that I think is the best is We're Alive, which they're on their, I think their third kind of iteration of the show. The first incarnation, the original series, is by far the best. It's got wonderful writing, wonderful storytelling. There was another one that wasn't quite finished that I enjoyed. And I'm not going to recommend it. I can't even remember the name. But I'm listening to one now called Wolf 359, Wolf 359. It's really good. It starts kind of slow. I almost didn't get past the first episode. But like most of the shows that I really enjoy, they start slow because they're doing character development. And that's exactly what was happening here. The show's at a point now, I think I'm about halfway through. It's like 40-something episodes that you start caring about the characters, which is fascinating. And anytime a show can make me feel emotion for a fictional character, they're doing a good job. All right. Now, instead of looking at me, just contentedly drink my coffee. We will switch gears. Frank sent over quotes for us to chat about. Thank you, as always, to Frank. Happy that you're here in the chat today, my friend. Thank you to Josh for our theme song, to Denise for our audio. I almost lost track. My brain is like, hey, do we want to go back to bed? We do, actually, but not going to do that. I noticed that too, and so Dennis says, Soke Mike D was so incredibly close to his mom. I think there is something to be said that he passed on to rejoin her on Mother's Day, but the martial arts community is certainly a little less dynamic today. Yeah, anybody who knew him, especially in the time, I never met his dad. I never met the original Mike D, but the way he talked about his mother, I had seen him at events pushing his mother in a wheelchair. That man loved his mother very much. And yeah, to pass on Mother's Day, I think it says something. All right, I do not have Facebook allowed. I am not ready for your phone. Go away. We don't need your inane notifications. Loading, 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 loading. Come on. Share screen. Now, starting us off, I see a quote from Maya Angelou. Nothing will work unless you do. Nothing will work unless you do. Whatever it is you want will require effort. People forget this. And they wish and they want and they hope and they dream. And those are all necessary, but they have to be followed up by work. When I came in from all my outside work yesterday and I was absolutely spent, took a shower and I finished off with cold water. Actually, pretty much started it and just did my normal morning routine. And it woke me up quite a bit. It was great. But I remember sitting on the couch and did the same thing this morning, saying, well, I don't know if it needs to be a cold shower. And this morning it was, well, I just showered last night. All I've done is slept. Nope. Because it's difficult, because I don't really want to, but because I know it's good for me and it doesn't harm me, I'm going to do it. There's a lot in my life that is completely under my control, almost everything. But at the same time, nothing. And if I allow myself to fall victim to the comfort of my home or the significant amount of flexibility I have in my time, I'm not building discipline. I want to become even more disciplined. And the moment I have that thought, it's like, yep, I've got to go take that cold shower, which got down to 57 today. It's the coldest I've done. Wasn't there for long, but I'll tell you what, mid-60s, not a problem anymore. Mid-60s used to be brutal. When I started, I couldn't even get there. And now I'm almost mid-50s. We'll see how cold the water gets over the summer. I think the coldest it'll go is 50. Will I get to 50? I have no idea. We'll find out. Many of the things you can count don't count. Many of the things you can't count really count. Albert Einstein. Let's do this. What are some examples of things that we can't count that really do matter? How about love? And I don't mean loving acts, because you can count those. But love in general. You can't count a smile. And in that way, I'm using the word count like score, right? I could count the number of, I don't know, water bottles on the floor over there. I have one smile, but that's not where the value comes in, right? Tommy says hugs and tail wags. Jenny says love was my first thought too. Support, compassion, friendship. Aren't these more important? Gad says water. Grammatically speaking, it's a non-count noun and it's essential. You cannot count water, right? There's a lot of things that we can't count. You know, there's a lot of research that goes into how much money do we need to have to be happy? And the number always varies, but it's always a much lower number than you think. The amount of money you need, or it's a little bit different. I'm saying it not quite right. The amount of money at which happiness no longer increases. It's like $70,000, $80,000. Maybe with inflation now it's $100,000. And that's, it's still a lot of money. I'm not going to suggest it's not. But the point being, someone who makes $100,000 a year is not generally happier than someone who makes $1 million a year. So what's the point? Where's the happiness? The happiness comes in the same places. If you have $1 million, you probably still have to work, unless you live bizarrely frugally, which most people have $1 million get there because they like nice things. So you're probably not living like a hermit or a hobo. So you're still working. So you still have all the same challenges at work. Boss or employees, financial troubles, marketing troubles. Probably still have a family or friends, probably still have a home. Saw a huge spider in my bathtub yesterday, had to deal with that. Didn't matter how much money I had to deal with it. And for the record, vacuum, and then turned off the vacuum in the driveway and shook him out. And she was very disoriented. It was one of those spiders you don't want to squish because they're that big. Frank says, how do you measure inspiration? That's a good one. Good question. The best things in life are things. I've seen that on a bumper sticker. In fact, if I remember correctly, in my 20s, I was part of a group doing a vision quest. And one of the older women participating, I didn't think she liked me. And then one day she gave me this bumper sticker. The best things in life aren't things. And it used to live on a fridge. I don't remember where it went, but the sentiment has stuck with me. Things are nice, but we tend to forget we have them. That thing that you had to have, probably don't use anymore. What's our last one today? Of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are our own fears. Rudyard Kipling. Of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are our own fears. How many times have we dreaded a thing and once it was done said, that really wasn't that bad? Even in the middle, It's not that bad. Or maybe you wonder, when's it going to get really bad? When is it going to become as bad as I've built it up to be? The answer is probably never. Life is full of those. How do you get through those things that we dread, those fears? We face them. And as we face them, we recognize, I can handle this. Maybe it's not my favorite. Maybe it's not something I choose, but I can do it. I'm not going to mow my lawn every day. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not going to go looking for spiders to vacuum up, but I'm not afraid of them. Tommy's fear into curiosity, school motto. Good one. I like that. I don't mean that you run out and you pick your biggest fear and you run right up to it and embrace it. But those things that make you pause. Taking a cold shower when it's 34 degrees out. It's a good one for me. Find a way through it. Find some time with it. Fear is interesting because the risk from one person to the next, somebody who's afraid of it and somebody who's not, the risk is really the same. You can probably make a case that there are some fears that the more you're afraid of them, the worse they are. If you work with animals, being afraid of them doesn't serve you. Don't be afraid to be afraid. And don't be afraid to let go of the fear. It's the best I got for you. I hope you have a great day. Go check out today's episode with Yuri. Let me know what you think. Join the Facebook group, Martial Arts Radio Behind the Scenes. So you can leave us some comments on it. Or if you don't do Facebook or you want to share some private feedback, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. Reminder, today, right about noonish, maybe a little bit before, we will be opening up public registration for All In Weekend 2024. And when that happens, the discount code for All In Weekend 2023 attendees expires. I forget what the exact time is on it, but you can sign up. Those of you who have been emailing me, hey, when can I sign up? You can sign up later today. And fun bit of trivia. We'll call it trivia. So the first All-In Weekend, we had 21 people attend. Of those, 12 people signed up in this 2-week period of exclusivity. This past year, we had 23. We had a few that couldn't make it. 15 people have signed up. Yeah. We're doing something right. And you probably want to be part of it. Ooh, we're going to end on this. And it says, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. Jack Canfield. That's a great quote. Thank you, Dennis. And thank you to all of you. I appreciate you being here. Have a marvelous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.